What's up, dude? Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today's case once again has to do with members of the FLDS church, but this one hits a little bit closer to home for me, so let's jump into it. On February 18th, 2023, Heber Jeffs, 54 years old, the nephew of Warren Jeffs, the FLDS church's prophet, was arrested in Minot, North Dakota. Now that is like not very far from where I live, if it's a 2-hour drive from me. And I actually remember hearing about this story, but I literally did not hear this much about it. So he was arrested on kidnapping charges because he had his 10-year-old niece with him. That's all I heard, was that a uncle had kidnapped his niece. That was it. Like, when I heard about this story, that was the extent of it. So I think it's really crazy that like it happened here and I didn't know more than that about it. Thankfully, the girl was found unharmed. She's safe, she's found, her dad Dwayne Barlow said. After Heber was arrested by federal agents, he was taken to the Ward County Jail in Minot, where he sat until he had an extradition hearing. The kidnapping charges were filed against him back in December of 2022 when he and his sister's daughter went missing. Apparently, Warren Jeffs gave him instructions from the Texas prison he's in to keep the girl away from her mother. According to court documents, Heber kept her in his home in Kingston, Utah after Warren got a revelation from God directing his followers to gather the community's women and prepare to move to a location or locations as directed by Warren Jeffs or his son, Heber Jeffs. Rose Jeffs, the girl's mother, isn't a member of the FLDS church anymore, but was allowed regular visitation and full access to her daughter, who was living with her aunt and uncle, Heber and Sarah, until August. And then at that time, it looks like it should be pronounced Heber, but I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Heber, told Rose that he wouldn't allow her to visit her own daughter anymore. The 10-year-old went to live with her aunt and uncle as an infant after her parents had split up. I don't know if Dwayne is still a member of the church or not. I'm sort of guessing that he's not. I don't know, because otherwise I would think that she would just stay with him if he was still a member and her mother wasn't. Court documents say that Rose did demand to take her daughter back after Heber said that he planned to cut off communication between the two. The court documents point to the revelation as a primary reason, saying Warren Jeffs commanded or ordered that the FLDS female members should quit their current employment and activities and gather, essentially like a shelter in place, potentially in preparation for the lifting of a years-long community-wide ban on marriage or childbearing. They said Jeff's revelation directed the community's men to send money from working in construction to leaders, pending further direction. Supposedly, Heber told Rose that she wouldn't see her daughter unless she returned to the FLDS church. Now, if you guys remember from my video that I posted on I believe it was Tuesday, Warren is saying that in the next 5.5 years, members of the FLDS church need to prepare to go to heaven, and a lot of authorities are concerned that this might turn into another Jonestown situation, which if you don't know what that is, look it up, but basically an entire cult drank some poisoned Kool-Aid and died. There were thousands of deaths. So that's what they're afraid of, and they don't want that to happen again. So I really think we're going to start hearing more and more about this. But basically what Warren wants is for all of the ex-members of the church to return. And so now we're starting to see kids go missing. The story that I did the other day was 8 kids that just got up and walked out of their homes, and the kids that were missing were living with their mothers who were no longer part of the FLDS church anymore. And so these mothers think that family members that are still in the church persuaded them to come back to the church. I mean, think about it. The church is all that these children know. That was their entire life. So then to leave that community, I'm sure was really hard. And so I don't doubt that it didn't take much for them to just be like, yep, that's what I know. That's what I'm comfortable with. That's what I'm going to go back to. So it's kind of sounding like now maybe this situation is something in relation to that, trying to bring all these members back into the faith. But this story is from February, so we didn't know about this much at the time. Or maybe it's not that we didn't know this much about it, it's that I didn't know this much about it. So now to me it's like, oh, this makes a lot of sense now. Like, they're trying to get all these members to come back. So people start going missing, and they're starting to try to manipulate members into returning to the church, and they'll stop at nothing to do that, including, obviously, kidnapping. Not long after law enforcement began to step in, that is when Heber took off, and they couldn't find him at his home or places that he worked. They couldn't find a phone number, and when they finally did and they tried it, here it was disconnected. Then law enforcement issued a warrant out for his arrest. Homeland Security is trying to arrange to get her back here and reunite with her mother, the sheriff of Piute County, Utah, stated. Heber pled guilty to third-degree felony custodial interference in Junction's 6th District Court. In exchange for his guilty plea, Piute County prosecutors dismissed a first-degree felony charge of kidnapping. When my sister was having a difficult time in raising her children, my wife and I agreed to take custody of my sister's youngest child. He does mention her initials, but because she's 10, I don't even want to do that, so I'm just gonna leave a blank space where he says her initials. I'm just not comfortable with giving even that much information about her out. When blank was 7 months old, Jeff said in a court document filed with his guilty plea, "My wife and I raised the child like one of our own until blank was 10 years old. We never commenced any court proceedings pertaining to transfer custody of blank when blank was 10 years old. My sister asked me to return blank to her. I refused. I later took blank with me when I moved to another state." Heber was released from jail pending a June sentencing date, according to court documents. However, it is the end of June right now, and this is where this case ends. We do not, unfortunately, know anything more about this case. I do think it's important to mention that Heber does have a sexual assault charge on his record, so that is something also. But yeah, again, this is really tricky because it is a family case. So those get a little bit, stickier, I think. So unfortunately, this is where I have to leave you. I'm really hoping that we'll get more updates about this. If you guys want to see more videos pertaining to this topic, please comment down below. Let me know. I honestly might just do them anyways because I find this to be incredibly interesting. So yeah, that's it for me today. Thank you guys for watching. Please make sure to smash the thumbs up button down below. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And I will be back tomorrow with another True Crime Courier video. Bye, guys.